Ben in Washington. You are live on Truth Wanted. What's up?
Hello, Dan. Good to talk to you again. Good evening, Christy. How are you?
Howdy. Not too bad. What's on your mind?
So, I just wonder, I guess, your opinion if you think it's going to be a matter of changing the law or just changing the stigma in America. Because I work in the hospitality industry, and 5 of the 7 hotels I've worked at, I've had to literally get them to change their code of conduct books. Because while they're not allowed to discriminate on transgender, they are allowed to say that men, like especially the Hilton Code of Conduct says, they know that gay men work for them, so it specifically says that men can have clear nail polish, but not colored nail polish, and men can't have hair below their ears. And it's just very, like, I don't know, I talked to a lot of my female friends about this, and they don't even know it exists in the culture. And it's just very strange to me that corporate America is allowed to say, like, this is how men have to dress, and this is how women have to dress, right, even in the society where we've been like, you can change whether you're male or female, but they can still dictate by how you appear, whether you say you're male or female.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's a terrible thing. I'm curious what your question is or where you're headed.
Yeah, do you think like this is kind of where I get into are Democrats really doing more than Republicans, and like, are they just showing face? Because it doesn't seem like actual cultural change comes from the laws that people, like the transgender defense against being discriminated on. Like, it's nice in theory, but like I said, when businesses still have these, at-will states, they can fire you for any reason. Are we truly, like, as a non-binary person, are we truly protected? Because jobs have turned me away for having nail polish on, because I'm non-binary. And
this is I want to comment on this first, if you don't mind, because I question this, not like, obviously we definitely need to update our protections, but even the civil rights laws that we have now, I wonder, are people truly protected under those laws? Because it's so hard to prove discrimination crimes for hiring and stuff like that. I mean, how many studies have been done on, people sending in identical resumes to places and somebody using a traditionally black name versus traditionally white name, and people rejecting, the black name more times than the white, right? Like even though like we have the legislation in place to where it's supposed to prevent things like that, to go to court over something like that and to just even start to prove something like that is just really, really hard for the person who would be the victim in that situation. And oh gosh, for trans folks, I mean, I obviously I think I could speak for both of us when we say we want to make sure that legislation's in place, period. But like, how do we enforce that? I don't know. Like, it's so difficult, right?
Yeah, you shaped your question around corporate America, which is, obviously a appropriate place to direct a lot of anger. But this question, I mean, especially as you're talking about food service or hospitality in general, I think the reality is, in a big city, in a large corporate setting, you're actually going to have a better chance of being appropriately taken care of. If you're working at a small town restaurant, I mean, there's really not any reason to hesitate about being very out front about that kind of discrimination. So, I'm not a legal expert. I don't know how we resolve these issues, only to say that if you identify as trans or in any way gender nonconforming, this is almost a given. And as much as I don't want to dismiss it or just sort of accept, well, I guess we just have to deal with this shitty thing. The reality is, I'm first and foremost like just worried about where my trans clients are going to piss when they go on a road trip, let alone whether or not they are going to be eligible for hire at a business that they should very much be appropriate for.
The medication that they need or get the treatment that they need, because they might get rejected for one reason. I mean, like it's systemic, the issues that the trans community faces. And my heart reaches out to you guys, because it's going to take a lot of changes, not just with discrimination, I guess, to really kind of fix that. And we do need to get people on the same page. In my opinion, as straight cis white guy, right? Again, like my goal and my allyship is to inform other people who like look like me and who have those similar experiences growing up as I do, to be like, yeah, like it's, like we grew up around this prejudice, like I did too, but like we have to recognize that the world is changing and it's for the better, like, and you can be a part of that change too if you want to. But that has to take some debunking of old ideas and old myths about trans people that just isn't true. So yeah, I feel like we didn't help you as much as we really wanted to.
Commiserate,
but
maybe.
Yeah, more commiserated. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I guess my question was more whether it should be law or just a matter of time. And so I guess, it would probably be more beneficial to just let the culture change over time than trying to force laws where people
it should be law.
I mean, the two,
men wear.
Yeah.
Well, it's left foot, right foot, left foot, right foot. The culture changes, the laws progress, the laws change, and the culture progresses. And we take those steps. So, I'm in favor of any legal protection that we want to extend to trans folks. I mean, honestly, if we want to make a bill that just allows all trans people to steal French fries from anybody that they want to, I'm in favor of that protection right now, because that's just where we're at as a society.
Yeah.
I don't know that there is any particular bill working its way or that could work its way through Congress to magically resolve these issues, though. There is a lot of our culture that needs to get in line.
Yeah, and I'll say this too, right? Because we were talking about gay marriage being legalized across the country. It wasn't legal in Texas in 2015, if I recall correctly, and it wasn't legal in a lot of places. And I think that legalization actually probably helped accelerate the acceptance of gay
100%.
couples.
No
more
question.
so in those areas, right? So like there is a time, I think, sometimes where you got to do what's right and change the law, even if there's places, because people were making those states' rights, the states' rights arguments about each state should decide
in defense of marriage and all that.
Yeah,
bullshit.
but it's like, is human rights a states' rights thing? I don't think so. But again, we could talk about differences in legal opinion and how we form the laws, but I'm not an expert in that. So hopefully that was helpful, Sven. I appreciate you calling, and good luck to you changing your environment.